Soweto, hola, Bafetu. How's everybody doing? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Happy People TV, Orlando Pirates fan channel. This is your Orlando Pirates news transfer show and rumor show. And we have something to report, guys. We have something to report. Something has happened in the world of Orlando Pirates news, and it is about the management position, the one that we wake up every day to find out if there's anything that has happened. I am your host, KB, and I am joined by the technical director of the channel, Mr. Coach. How are you feeling, Vandag?
Hola, Brian. I ain't fit, so can't complain. I'm good, man. And yourself?
I'm fit to 100%, bro. 100%. How are you feeling about these news that are coming out? How did you feel when you first looked at it?
Mixed feelings, bro. I don't want to lie, mixed feelings. If you had asked me a month ago, I would have been pulling my hair. But now things have happened since then. We've been linked with names I don't want to see my club anywhere near. So I'm warming up. I'm honestly warming up to the whole idea, man.
Well, I guess I have to say it. Since it's the Buccaneer brief, I have to say it formally. And according to a certain source, a certain report, Rulani Mokwena, that's right, he himself is apparently very, very close to dotting the I's and crossing the T's on an Orlando Pirates management contract. Mr. Coach, shall I go right into it, or do you want a little bit of time to take one more deep breath?
Nah, just read it so we can get into our opinions and things alike.
Yeah, no, it's nothing too major. It's by UnplayableZA. And they are saying, breaking, Unplayable can confirm that Orlando Pirates are close to appointing Rulani Mokwena as their new head coach. Our sources say his return to the club is imminent. There it is, guys, by Unplayable. Mr. Coach, obviously I have to come to you and ask you the questions. Let us explain the feasibility of this move and the how legit is this source? How are you feeling around this news?
Hey, Mfethu, speaking on Unplayable and the validity of their reports. First of all, before even this thing, for me, I will rate them as a good 6 out of 10 in terms of being a source. They get things right, but they also get things wrong. But I must mention that they were the ones that broke our links to Buccaneer, and that deal looks like it's almost complete. So that did raise them from a 6 to a young 7.5 on my part, because they were the only ones who linked us to Mbutuma. And it looks like the deal is real. Furthermore, it's not just about Unplayable, these news. If we're being completely honest, on the 5th of June, Diski Times had broken a supposed short list that was taken out in terms of the player, the coach that the Pirates has been looking at in terms of taking over, and Rhulani Mokwena was one of those.
6th of June, yeah.
6th. And I think 8 days later, they then broke the news that Orlando Pirates had held talks. Again, Diski Times Pirates had talks with Rulani during the course of that week. And for me, that brought a whole new level of reliability to that case. Like I say, Diski Times are probably amongst the most reliable when it comes to these kind of things, because they only report them once it's almost a done deal. They don't necessarily do the whole speculation thing. So that was not, and we had the video. So that was now twice that we heard from Diski Times that Rulani could be on his way. And then a week later, 8 days later again, which is today, we find out from Unplayable that Pirates are supposedly close to concluding it. So when you think about it in context to this whole rumor and where we are today, I'm almost willing to bet money that that's going to be our coach.
Well, that is pretty deep, Mr. Coach. That is pretty deep, Mr. Coach. I think let's say it a little bit step by step one more time. So there was the 1 week where they released a list. How did you feel when they released that list and he was one of 6 names? Yeah.
Yeah, I think 6 names. It's interesting when you ask that because now prior to that list, I had no interest in Rulani being the man. I felt like he was not going to be capable of taking us forward whatsoever. And then the list came out, and it had a number of coaches. Okay, Enal Pitora, Enal Rulani, and 4 other coaches, Pablo Franco Martini, and 3 other names I didn't even bother to remember. Ricardo something.
Some Portuguese guys and everything. Yeah.
The reason I didn't want to remember those names is because I believe those are coaches would be staying clear from. They don't fit the pedigree as far as I'm concerned. Don't know anything about winning the league, nor the Champions League for that matter. So once I saw the list, I was like, okay, if I have to choose between people on that list, now I'm left Capito Rulani. And I don't think anybody believed we were ever going to get Pito. Well, I mean, it's not over. It's not over. But I still don't think Pito Mfethu we have a chance at getting him. So after at least I warmed up to Coach Rulani significantly, because at least he does have some history of winning a league and so on and so forth. So since then I think with each day I've gotten a little bit more receptive to him as the coach, and if I wake up one of these days and he's announced, I will back him.
Very interesting. So you're saying that at the beginning you saw the list and then you went fully convinced. Okay, cool, that makes sense. And then you got convinced. Well, you went fully convinced, and then you saw the list, and then you saw which, hey, if I had to choose anybody here, he'd be the one I would choose. And then after that list came out, there was we even did a brief on it where they said talks are being held. So in terms of believability, do you feel like this marks basically a milestone in terms of the credibility and in terms of whether we want him or not, we've been divided. But also I feel like in terms of whether he shall come or not, we've also been divided. Do you think now that division is over and now it's back to, do you want him or not? Will you back him or not? Or is it still 50-50 in terms of believability?
For me, jump from 50 to 80 something, like I said, a very reliable source, which is Times, and also the fact that, let's not forget, Coach Rulani, Orlando Pirates is home for him, bro. He's got a lot of family there. He did even come out when they asked him about the links, did come out and say that he would definitely consider a move, highly respects the chairman. So believability for me has been increasing. Like I said, as soon as the name came from Times, for me, I was like, oh, okay, there's actually something to this. We're not just, because earlier on, we were just pulling out names out of a hat, players, coaches that we think are available. So once it started being linked, that's when I took it seriously. And again, now even Unplayable for me is coming off the back of something that already was a good, a strong link, rather. So yeah, Mfethu, it is just about, are you happy or not? And the way I see it, in a few weeks, it'll be about, well, gotta back your coach regardless of how you feel.
Mr. Coach, I hear you, and I even have another thread to add to that. Do you feel like it? And I would also like to ask the chat, guys. We read things all the time. I call this him season, meaning we see everything and we use a pinch of salt when we consume the news. But Mbutuma, very good signing, yes, but when you look back at our transfer window and the links that we've been having, I feel like there's a very close correlation between when Rulani was being linked, or let me actually say that video that Rulani actually names Mbutuma as a good striker. I didn't watch that interview. But then Chigi, couple of days later, the Rulani links are getting stronger, and this is not just a strong link, ladies and gentlemen. This is this thing is close. As much as the from the outside looking in, you don't see a difference between this and the Moremi deal in terms of the way they've been delivering the news and been laying out the story as it happens. So do you believe there was a coincidence? And Moremi is currently a Buccaneer. So what do you feel about that coincidence? Were we always going to sign him? Is that basically Orlando Pirates saying that we signed this guy a long time ago? We've been working with him behind the scenes. It's just that we didn't tell you.
I wouldn't put it past them, bro, at all. Yeah. I mean, I would imagine that they'll probably just, it could be maybe technicalities, contractual things that they're ironing out. Obviously, this was speculation. I don't know. Sorting out arrangements. It's the preseason. I don't think he's finally signed on the dotted line, but the way it seems, it could be days away from that, bro, because it could have been, okay, actually it could have been Horobadumelane. In principle, they had a verbal agreement, a gentleman's agreement, and because the Mutuma thing is very interesting to me. It looks like,
Yep.
Rhulani was like, please add a striker. I would appreciate it.
Yeah.
There's a guy. I mean, obviously, we're clutching at straws when it comes to that, but it does seem like there's some smoke between that connection, and the fact that that deal was able to be wrapped up so quickly compared to our other links, completed and packaged so soon. Especially thinking about
how long did it take between the link, like a strong link, and done deal? I don't remember making many videos about him.
We never even got. I remember mentioning to Mr. Manda in the chat, or in the comments of a different video, that we are close to. Well, he was mentioning our links to Mutuma, and it wasn't exactly very public. Like I said, Unplayable were the only ones who had linked him, and there was only a few days before he was announced by Amazulu. So it seemed like the deal got done quite quickly. And I'd imagine Moremi also got something to do with that. I don't know, of course, but yeah.
You know what has stood out to me about this season's signings, right? This transfer season signings and let me say links. I believe it is the kind of decision making you would make if you had your, obviously some deals are carry over from the last transfer window. I suppose Nduli is one such example. And the likes, the free transfer and the likes, the outgoings are always going to be outgoings. So Rona, for every single transfer activity that happened, whether it's an incoming or an outgoing, there's only a few where we just allow it to happen. But for everything that would happen, would be like, hey, but with the new coach, want that person gone. Hey, but with the new coach, want that person. Hey, good. So if you knew, I'm bringing in Rhulani is going to do whatever I say at the end of the day. He's not going to make a noise. He's going to be a friend of the club. I'm going to sign him players. He knows how we work here. Then maybe if he makes a strong suggestion, maybe we can sign him one or two players. But it's business as usual. He's going to say yes. He's out of a job. He has a bone to pick, especially in the PSL. It is time for him to prove himself. So we'll just move as we please as Orlando Pirates. I feel like, guys, we are finally seeing why we have been so confused.
Yeah,
I disagree, Mr. Coach.
Look, to be fair, we have always operated like this, but there is a little bit of a slight difference between this transfer window and previous ones. If you think about Tito, Mbata, Rasebocha, and players alike, those are players we signed, we didn't even know their names until they were Pirates players. And the difference with this transfer window is that there are actual links with players who have kind of made a name for themselves. Not that they've been stars. Like Guaiba made a name for himself at Chiba. Moremi made a name for himself for Mazulu. Mutuma made a name for himself for Transpe, which is totally different from our previous strategy. So that does look like we're doing things a little bit different than normal, and that could have a lot to do with the coach. Because normally, Mr. Chairman, why get is our sign, and then
7 players at a time. Yeah,
coach must figure it out. And it seems like this time there's been that little bit of element there. Okay, we're actually signing some names, albeit not big names, not any world beaters, but these are players who at least have actual a bit of reputation in the PSL. And we know that Coach Rhulani is is similar to Pito in the sense that he has his requirements, he knows what he wants, and he made it clear that the club he will join, he needs them to be on board with his plans and support him to an extent. So again, it shows, it's not like he's been unveiled or anything like that. We could wake up next week and we get a Plumber or even Beats or whatever the case may be. But what we know up to now, for me, it's looking it's making more and more sense. Give me a roll.
Mr. Coach, you know me, if I feel like I have a horse in the race, I'll make the bet, Right now, I don't see any reason why I would have to fight with these news. It sounds like it's quaking like a duck, moving like a duck, and seeming like a duck. It's seeming like a duck. Let me give a chance for the viewers to have their say. One chat. Thank you very much, Nomsa, for contributing to the chat this side. And Nomsa says it's difficult to imagine Rulani doing well at Orlando Pirates, but I'm happy to be wrong. Okay, yeah, one of the neutrals. Rulani is a rich coach. He has demands to help him do well, which makes him less flexible. Whereas Jose Rivero worked because he was humble and flexible. So that's what Nomsa thinks over there. I know from our group chat, Perfect, so you guys can actually join the group chat with the link in the description down below. It's a WhatsApp group chat, and then you can just come and join the conversation and the likes. The way Nomsa is saying it, it is reminding me of how we are divided in that very group. I remember you posted these news just before we did this show that something like this is happening. We had mixed emotions in there. Mr. Coach, are the fans? Is it valid for the fans to have mixed emotions? Is it? I know there's size here. There's size here.
I think what's very interesting about Rulani. And then I was also on that to say I had the same issue. Rulani Mfethu, honestly, if you remove his 6 months go Pirates, he's a shoo-in. He's a great coach, he's had a great career. But unfortunately, we have that PTSD. We can't act like those 6 months didn't happen. And I think that's the only reason we're divided. Because if you look at only his Sundowns career and his time at Wydad, that's a winning coach. He's actually done really well. Impeccable CV. You back him immediately, as far as I'm concerned, if you only look at that. But again, we also know our club, but it's a high pressure situation, bro.
It's also a highly, how can I say, you need to be flexible. You need to have whatever it's happening throughout your career. It has to work double now. It has to work double. You're not gonna get.
I think one more thing that divides us even more as supporters, that Coach Rhulani is many things. Humble is not one of them. And
yes. And we know what that means. As a Buccaneer, like, I feel like if we had that reputation where coaches who talk a big game, do well and get backed by the club when they don't do well and keep on talking a big game. We don't have a big reputation of allowing that to fly, especially because sometimes a club or a manager that does that might sometimes throw the club under the bus.
True. Yeah, so those are the kind of things that are dividing us more. But look, honestly, I think for me, it's almost 50-50. As supporters, we are divided. But in my opinion, like I said, dog, I'll keep saying this until he lifts the trophy if he comes through, is that he's never been my first choice and he never will be. But he's definitely number one after any Plumber. So if I'm thinking Plumber and Rhulani, I am choosing Rhulani every week.
Mr. Coach, make a prediction. I'm going to read the last comment. I'm going to ask you to make a prediction. And you're going to tell us when he's going to be announced, okay? All right. Final comment here, guys. Sorry, we're going to try. I'll try convince Amachita to come together for a Bucs Chat Live emergency stream, because it might be the last chance we might have to talk about this as a as a maybe. So Nomsa comes through and says the fact that Pirates has bought players before a coach arrives may not sit well with a coach like Rulani. I love his philosophies, but he's a type that needs time. Does Pirates have that time to allow him to build brick by brick? I'll actually toss that question over to you, Mr. Coach.
I would say Mfethu, if he comes through Caprice. Look, remember, we're operating on the assumption that these signings, Rulani has had a hand in them. To be completely honest, I don't think those are just players.
Yeah, that's controversial. Allegedly.
He might not have like requested them and handpicked them all, and the club obliged. But I'm pretty sure that if you were to go to the email threads or whatever the case may be, you're gonna find some of those players'
names
and his email. So
yeah.
I think or something like that. But apart from the whole signing thing, Fitch, honestly, I think if the man has a preseason, he's well set up to build. I think it's more than enough time for him to build. If he goes to Spain, and it's not like different from ours, bro. It's very similar to how the football we were playing. And Rhulani, again, I did say that he's got a huge background in the youth, and so do we as a club. So that's something that's not going to need a lot of transition. It's honestly more about, I think the biggest difference between us and Rhulani's philosophy is just he's more possession-based and we're more attacking-based, but we still played with a lot of dominance ourselves. So it'll just be small tweaks, which can be done during the preseason. I think by the time, should he be announced, by the time we start playing competitive games, he'll be well into his project and have built something. So I think if he were to be announced or to be appointed on time and start on time, he would have enough.
But at the same time, he's already been appointed in the background. You're confusing me, Mr. Coach. Ultra, let me just update everybody. 52 votes in the poll question. Will Rulani Mokwena be successful at Pirates this time?
That's division, bro.
They're still coming in. But right now, it is an 80%, a whopping 80% for yes, he will be successful. And a disappointing 20%. No, I know that I am in there, a part of that minority report over there. But it is what it is. Well, Mr. Coach, I don't know what else you want to get into. Kare would be leaving a lot of people currently, 60 people watching with us right now. I feel like we'd be leaving a lot of people hanging right now if we had to end it same time. So I also want to get some of their thoughts. Also in terms of like, for instance, midfield wise, I don't think we have a midfield that Rulani can work with.
That suits him.
Also, our fullbacks, Mr. Coach. Rulani, if it was up to him, Hotu is the first man out, Girl Tweets.
You know, I'm not going to be angry at that, right? You know, I ain't got no problem with that whatsoever. I'll love him for it.
Yeah, I know, bro. So I'm saying, if something of that sort is possible, then what does that mean for the team he's going to find there? And Nomsa actually has a point. Does he have time to build? We do know that he's that manager. Is okay. Granted, Jose was allowed time to build, but that was a plumber. And the expectation, every single loss here, Rulani will have a scrutiny, will have a backstory, will have, and he's going to have to either play good cop or bad cop. So I just foresee drama by and check. Will he have time to just be himself, bro?
I think he really does. In fact, here's the thing, bro. First, let me first talk about his time the last time around. Excuse me. Coach Rulani Mokwena was really good in terms of tactics. He was an excellent tactician, but Pirates, by the way. But he struggled for player management as far as I'm concerned. I don't think he could really reach the players and get through to them and motivate them properly. And I think it's been 6-7 years. He's grown as a coach. He even spoke about it a lot himself when he was going down, when he came back, and his development as a coach. So that's something positive. And during those 6 months, let's not forget, and those were not his philosophies. He basically had to build what he did on the fly as games were going. And if there's one thing we absolutely have to give him credit for during that time, as much as he was getting battered and dropping points, I think he went 7 straight draws, something like that.
Yeah.
Football looked really good, bro. I think the players were letting him down to an extent. They weren't converting chances, but the football really looked really good, and I really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, we just couldn't be patient enough because things went south way too quickly during his first time. But if you look at what he was able to build with Sundowns, I mean, Mfethu, we always give Beto credit for the foundation of Sundowns. But the fact of the matter is that Sundowns team that almost went unbeaten and the one before that, that is Rulani Sundowns. Our Sundowns have Beto.
Mr. Coach, I'm going to poke at you every single time you say style of play and the football was really good. Because you've been shouting about I want trophies now. I want trophies now. So are you saying that, are you willing to take a little bit of a slump in form maybe, or just a learning period or whatever they call it, for everybody to get used to everything without any trophies? Because look at it this way, bruv. He's more of a league specialist, you know? I get it.
Yes.
And he's not much of a cup specialist. So it means if he's not winning the league, you must be prepared for him to get found out and lose in a final, and for us to maybe go a season without. Are you willing to go 25-26 without a trophy?
Oh, that's a very tough question. It's not. There's so many moving parts for me to answer that question. Honestly, if I'm not winning anything and I'm 15 points, 11 points behind Sundowns, then I'm furious. But if I don't win anything and I'm 2 points behind Sundowns, different conversation. If I don't win anything and in the Champions League, it's like a semi-final again, finishing second, I'm still backing him. So it's not just cut and dry. Or if I don't win silverware, he's not good enough. Cups are great. They're wonderful. But it really is time for the league, bro. And honestly speaking, if there's one thing, like you said, that I trust him to deliver on, and it might not happen, it might not be as easy as this season. It sucks. Honestly, it would suck if it's go to another season. But the fact is that if he were to take over, the Rulani project would only start this time around. He'll only be 12 months in. And if he's 12 months into his project and he's 2 points from Sundowns or a point from Sundowns, different conversation entirely. I can concede MTN 8, I can concede Nedbank Cups, and I won't kick and scream. I think it'll be very important how Lena Aratresang as supporters in the press conferences. You can't just fail to deliver things like that and then start screaming thuggish behavior and whatnot like he did last time. He would have to man up and humble himself. So if that's the case, I can honestly live with it, bro. Like I said, this season, I would sell every single MTN 8 that we have in the last 3 years for the league right now.
Okay, hold up. Yeah, Mr. Coach. You know what? I'm glad that I think I've basically been tracking the mood rather than anything around this Rulani deal, and I'm also comparing it to if you had somebody like Rulani, but if he wasn't Rulani. I don't know, man. Yes, we've got the record. Yeah, we love in a leaky Mzansi Sundowns, but I know none of us are going to look back at that time and be like, hey, and Rulani outplayed us all. Okay, wait. That's contentions. That's okay. I might take that back. Let me read some comments. Hold up before I implicate myself in things I don't want. Okay, Nomsa comes through. Thank you very much, Nomsa, for keeping this one going. Guys, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe and share our Buccaneer, but mostly liking, guys. Liking is number one, like. Okay, away. So yeah, she's like, I'm happy for Rulani to surprise me, and I want us to win. That's all. That actually led also contributed to why I was asking what I was asking. And then she says stadiums will fill up, But he will talk. So he will fill the stadiums, and once he fills the stadiums, it's going to give him ammunition. I mean, the football is incredible. I just think the team. I can't wait. I can't wait to defend myself against Rhulani as a Buccaneer faithful away. And then she also says, I want the league. I need a coach who wants the league just as much, and a coach who believes that Pirates deserves the league and nothing else. Woo! Nomsa. That is expectation 101. I want the league. I need a coach who wants the league just as much as me. A coach who believes that Pirates deserves the league and nothing less. Well, I guess that answers my question in no uncertain terms. Yeah. Thank you very much for engaging there, Sister Nomsa. Well, Mr. Coach, what is your biggest concern then? What is your biggest concern about this whole thing? I feel like we've spoken enough about the pros, including the cons.
Interestingly enough, my concern here, Rulani, is he won, and he's not adaptable when it comes to approaching games. Like, the minute we don't win a game...
Emanyan, is his assistant going to be Mandla?
He's got his own personal assistant, yes, but I'd assume that Mandla will be one of two.
Okay, no, it's fine. Carry on. Yeah.
Yes, he's got his own team. I'm going to. My only issue, Coach Rhulani, is he's a little bit too rigid for my liking. Like, he doesn't like looking at the game for the opponents. He has decided that Jala Polo is so, and this is how we win games. We're not going to win every single game. So be it. Don't come and attack me about my style of football because you want to attack me when it wins. So Jose gave us that thing where he could look at the game and approach it for the best way to win the game. Coach Rhulani will look at his system and be like, who was not executing my system correctly? Because my system was supposed to win that game. And that's my only caveat. But in the same breath, that's the same caveat that's the same system that led him to back-to-back semi-final Champions League, and the same system that has Mamelodi Sundowns being beaten by Dortmund in the Club World Cup. So, it's something that you'll just have to take and accept. It's not the best thing, but to be honest, that's actually my only problem with Coach Rhulani, and I think that's a good thing.
Then you clearly don't see how gutted I look right now. That's why I fit. We see why I fit.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to find words with how I used to feel, but then I used to have this feeling of, oh man, do I hate Sundowns, when they would win and then he would come out talking with that smooth, suave voice. Or another feeling I would have is way much more joy beating him in a final while he's saying, well, only one team played football today. And I'm like, yeah. So it's like, oh, so when you are the godfather of who should play football and how it should be played and all of that stuff. And honestly, bro, I think it can take... It gives you too much tunnel vision as a coach. It makes you feel like if you want success, you're going to listen to me. If you want success, you're going to buy who I say you should buy. If you want success, you're going to sell who I say you should sell. If you want success, you better make sure that team goes toe-to-toe with us and doesn't park the bus, because then that ain't football. And I'm like, whoa. So for me, he just seems a bit limited, bro. Like, the final form of Rhulani cannot become that final form without everything going his way. That's just how it is. There's some people who like the normal player or coach that we use to portray the adaptability thing. Carlo Ancelotti. I think I could also throw Jurgen Klopp into that, but I feel like they are the kind of coaches where they can keep winning. If they can just get a team together and, a philosophy together. When it comes to Rhulani, it's just about how long will it take until they get found out. If they get found out in a certain aspect, you're going to have to change it by changing a player or getting somebody better or something like that. But if those things collide and they found out your system and they found out your players, or you can't use players to mask the issue, then your solution go boo. I don't know, Mr. Coach. So you're saying that is only... Huh?
No, it does have drawbacks, his coaching philosophy.
It does have drawbacks, bro. Yeah.
I think it's the only flaw in his managerial career. And the reason, I think, to be completely honest, the reason why I'll even celebrate if and when we appoint him, honestly speaking, I just can't shake that invincible KB. You don't know how hard I had to pray to make sure that they lose a game. League ends. I would love to be that. I would love that to be my club.
You think that's gonna happen with us? Hey, this guy. Okay, Bon. Let me read some comments. Zakele comes through and says Pito is my first choice. And if I don't get Pito, I'll go with Rhulani. Okay. Sorry, guys. Seems like Zakele is going for Rhulani. Nomsa, yeah, well, Zakele, I don't believe Pito is anywhere close to being able to come through. That's why I'm saying that. Nomsa says, yes.
Just to ask you, Salah.
Nomsa comes through. She says, yes, Mandla will be the assistant. Okay, she believes, and Pirates aren't letting him go. Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, so Mr. Coach believes he'll be somewhere on that staff. Obviously, we know that. And then Rhulani becomes too fixated on one thing. That's his downfall. Tanko, I actually agree with that, Nomsa. And then she finally comes to and says, very few coaches are adaptable in this league. That is a very good point. The coaches in this league, we know, okay, it's either he's this kind of coach or he's that kind of coach.
It's either Dan or Kevin Hunt.
Yeah, that is actually very interesting. No, for now, yeah, what we should actually, and thank you very much for that comment one more time. One thing we should actually remember is that we're Pirates. It's not about what's available in the league. It's about what do we want and who could be available outside. But then we are supposed to be trusting in them to find somebody who's going to be adaptable and all of those nice English words, because we don't usually rely on what's available in the country anyway. So I just try to actually be careful when it comes to judging us in terms of who's available in the actual league, because now we look outside anyway. So yeah,
and look what that brought us in the last 15 years.
We shall talk, and some people have a very fond memory, some people don't. No, but I hear what you're saying, Mr. Coach.
No, what's about KP?
Anyway, we'll look conversation. No, yeah.
I just want to say, if you remember, I had one requirement for whoever takes over. One requirement. I want a coach that has won the league before, that knows what it looks like to lift those arms for a trophy, gold medal at the end of the season. And Coach Rhulani ticks that. So other things are obviously secondary, but my first requirement was that kind of experience. And he spent how many years in that change room of winners alone? Bring him over here, KP.
He has a better chance than a lot.
Yeah.
Mr. Coach, be afraid. Be very afraid. I'll tell you why also. Bruh, I don't know, dog. Do you prefer losing with drama or without drama?
How do you mean?
Do you prefer if you are, first of all, if you're expected to win and then you don't win, but then the other team is like, okay, we can see how the game went. Yeah, no, it's not a surprise that Pirates lost. It's fine, and then we forget about it. Or would you rather lose? Oh my goodness, maybe the referees or this and that, and the coach is saying this and that, and now it's a whole tower when it comes to the whole losing thing. So do you want there to be drama around your loss, or would you rather lose and walk away as if nothing happened?
Oh, no, Fetso. If my team lose, there are ways to lose and there are ways not to lose. I wonder how we lost against Kukun in the league. Completely unacceptable. That's not how I ever want to see my team lose a game. If you lose a game, I must be able to say, you know what, you did so respectfully, and you guys might even deserve to win the game. Maybe the other team was better, or some moments, or maybe there's a player kneeling, but at least we were set up to win the game. Everybody was poised to deliver. I never, ever want to walk after the end of a game and say, yeah, well, you know what? We were never going to win that game. Never.
Okay, no, it's fine. So the thing about Rulani is that, I don't know, there's this question of, can he handle our management? And I also want to know going forward, since it's looking imminent, can our management handle him? Because, you know, we've got to be the bosses. We've got to come out looking more professional than the next person, no matter who's drinking who. And so this drama that I'm asking about is the kind where basically you can have one loss today, but because there's so much drama around the loss, you end up losing game after game just because of the drama. So people start playing the occasion more than playing the game, because we have a coach that also plays the game and also sees his name in lights. Let me read some comments. So yeah, Gilbert came through. He will make it, but he must keep Mabasa. Okay, that sounds very cryptic.
He loves Mabasa, actually. He actually loves Mabasa.
Oh wait, dope. And then
which makes me happy. Which means, hold on, just one second before you read the next. Which means Mutuma, a striker he likes, Mabasa, a striker he likes. We might get to rest from evidence.
I've never seen a bigger smile in my life, Mr. Coach. Okay, sharp, Tauko Gilbert, and then Nomsa comes back and she says, "Hi, Pirates management, those are dictators. Only special people can work there. You need humility to be there and survive." And then Ngobile says, "Rulani will coach Pirates apparently." And Ngobile, you might be 100% correct. And then Nomsa comes back to say, "Gilbert." Okay, no, she's talking to Gilbert. I'll let them talk. It's between them. Anyway, bruv.
I want to make one point, bro. How Baka management their Pirates and how they treat coaches. Guys, don't get it twisted. Other coaches have been outsiders. Rulani is at home there. To time another problem he can call Jomo, of course. He's at home there, bro. It's not like anybody else. Rulani is the only coach you've ever heard of who was loaned as a coach to Chiba. So I think if anybody's going to be backed, if anybody's going to have support and management, and they'll be, maybe won't listen to everything he keeps screaming or crying for, but they'll be a lot more receptive to his requests and his pleas and whatnot. So I think he's not going to struggle when it comes to dealing with management. Like I said,
Lajewa.
Keko habora KP. Ujewe bamlona. Instead of outright sacking him, they just loaned him out. Were able to sort out a deal for him to go back to Sundowns behind closed doors without us knowing anything, and make it look like a peaceful transition for him to go from cheaper straight to Sundowns. So again, at the end of the day, Palace is bigger than it's bigger than anybody else. There's no manager who will come first. So we have our way of running things. I'd imagine those things are being discussed right now. But all I'm saying is that I would imagine he's gonna get a lot more backing than anybody else before him.
Well, Mr. Coach, you might be happy to know that there have now been 97 votes in And it remains 80% of people believing that Rhulani will return. Well, Mr. Coach, I'm going to give you a chance just to bring one more topic up on this here Buccaneer brief, and then maybe we shall debate on whether we are going to have an emergency stream. So I'm gonna read out the last couple of comments, and then I'm gonna allow you to close it for us. All right, let's do this. And then 100 votes by now. Thank you very, very much for participating, guys. 100 votes in, 80 of those votes. Okay, now it's 101, but 80% say yes, you'll be successful, and 20% says no, he won't be aware. So then, Soul 16 says Rhulani is going to cook something special with this current Pirates team. Optimism all around, it seems. Mr. Coach, I'll leave it up to you, man. Looks like I'm an outsider here.
Hey, Buccaneer, if you really, really believe Rhulani is going to come over and lead us to cleaner pastures, please smash the like. I'll give you a second. And on that note, I also want to say rest in peace to Mr. Phumlani Msibi. Our thoughts and prayers go out to his family. A lot of us grew up on his face on TV, so we're very saddened by the news. Otherwise, to Coach Rhulani, all I can say is that even if he's not first choice, take my stance. Now, when Jose Rivero was unveiled, if you were to go investigate my Facebook and the likes, you'll see I was pulling my hairs. But I think a few days after, and my philosophy is that no matter who comes, we must back him. So even if you're not happy, take out your frustrations and your opinions, let it sink in. But after a few days, it's time to get 100% behind the manager, because the club have chosen him, and any manager will need that. So even Coach Rhulani, I think the same should be true. Whether or not we agree, he should be the right man for the job. We can have these debates now up and down, but if that moment comes and unveiled, I think it's time to put our personal opinions aside and back him until he gives us reason not to. And that's all from me.
That's all from Mr. Coach. Soul 16, thank you for the comment. Yeah, no, it was telegraphed. We have been hoodwinked, hook, line, and sinker. They made us believe it was possible. Thank you, Nomsa. She says she's prouder than 20%, but yes, we've been hoodwinked. They made us believe it was possible. They made us choose between people that was impossible to choose from. They allowed us to speculate without saying anything. They release other things that make it seem like, no, man, people are just saying Rhulani's name only to find out. Behind the scenes. Well, it's better that way than if it was a sudden decision. So at least. Well, guys, the deal has intensified. It is the 21st. Yes, the 21st of June today, and so if you add 7 days, it will be the 28th, and then the 29th will be a Sunday. The Monday will be the 30th, and don't be surprised if you wake up on Tuesday morning and we are here. Just like this again, saying Rulani Mokwena is the new head coach of Orlando Pirates Football Club. Don't forget to hit the like, hit the subscribe to be notified, and share our Buccaneer so we can grow the community. Happy People TV, Orlando Pirates fan channel. We out. Danko.